G'day, guys. Welcome back to Stat Chat Sports. We're doing our AFL season previews. We're talking the Dees today, and I've got Tazza and BT with me. We've got the Dees finishing in second, which I'll just give you a little bit of backstory about how we come up with our rankings. So the four of us at Stat Chat Sports, myself, Josh, Tazza, BT, Steve, not on the call today, we sit down independently and we go through the list and we come up with our rankings 1 through 18. And then we average them out, we combine them together, and then we come up with an aggregate list. And you'll be surprised to learn that 3 of the 4 boys had Melbourne top of the table. So you'd be thinking, well, why are we previewing Melbourne as our second-ranked team? Tazza, the floor is yours. Please explain.
I don't know how to. I really don't know how to explain this.
Well, tell us where you have Melbourne sitting, for one.
So I have Melbourne sitting regrettably 7th.
Oh, that is a terrible goal.
That is.
So this is our 17th video. 17th video so far for footy, and that's by far the worst call we've had so far.
That is shit.
That is a shocking call.
The worst part about this is I was the only one that went through this game by game, every single game of this season, and somehow got them to finish 7th.
How many drinks did you had when you were going through this game by game?
I can't remember. I really hope I had a lot because there's no other excuse for putting them 7th. I just...
What makes it even worse is that you had Port Adelaide above them as well.
Oh, yeah.
And you sat on this podcast just a week or so ago as we previewed Fremantle and claimed, that the way you'd done it was the best and the most accurate because you had Fremantle in second.
Flaws. There's flaws. This is the one flaw. This is only one flaw. It's, I stand by my Freo call. I stand by that. But, I don't stand by this. I mean, I've already seen enough in 2 games to know that I've made a terrible, terrible call. This team it's going to be there at the pointy end. Teams can win from 7th. I'm not saying they can't win it. All I'm saying is at the end of the home and away season, they'll be in 7th. They can still win it.
This is ridiculous behaviour from you, Tazza. I do like that you're doubling down on it and standing your ground because it means we can absolutely give you shit for this for the entire season. BT, let's talk about the ins and outs. Luke Jackson, he's the main man. He's the big out, obviously, from this team. But really, objectively speaking, you could make a case this team has gotten better.
Oh, I agree. Jackson obviously is a future player. I think it was a perfect trade for Fremantle and Melbourne. I think it's worked for both of them. But bringing in, obviously, big Brodie Grundy. You got him and Gawn, the 2 best ruckmen probably since Dean Cox. Now they're both in the exact same team. It'll be interesting to see how it works, how they go about it. I've got my own ideas how I think they're going to play with that. Adding an extra wingman there with Ed Langdon, I think that's a quality pickup. That's an underrated pickup as well for this team because now that adds that little bit of depth on the wings and a halfback or a half forward. So
I think Lockie Hunt you're talking about.
Yes, yeah. So because you like a James Jordan, he may struggle to get a spot now, but now they've got that extra depth that they lacked a little bit over the last few seasons. So I think this has made their team better this season. And I can see them going very deep.
Yeah, the Grundy-Gawn combo is going to be one that we watch. And like you said, certainly going to be interesting to see how they play out. I mean, Tazza, you're invested in this from an AFL fantasy point of view, not so much from Melbourne because you clearly don't give a shit about them. But where do you see the combo of Gawn and Grundy going?
It's something we've never seen, so it's hard to really see where it's going to go. We've never seen 2 of the competition's elite ruckman in the same side.
Can I interject very quickly? Sorry. 2012 West Coast Eagles, 2 All-Australian ruckmen in the same team, Dean Cox, Nick Nat-Nelly. Please continue, Tazza.
Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, all right. We've seen it happen once before. So there you go. Anyway, getting back to the story. Grundy and Gawn, I mean, they've been the form ruckman for the last 5 or more years. So I don't know what mix we're going to see. I would imagine Grundy takes the bulk of the midfield work, the rucking work, and I think Gawn's more. I think he's better around as he can sit behind the ball, and his intercept marking is probably a bit better. And I would say his forward work, his forward craft is better.
I
We've
agree.
seen him. I think was it the prelim where he kicked 5 goals or 6 goals, something like that. Yeah, I mean he's done it on the bigger stage. He's proven himself in the forward line. So I think that'd be silly to go away from something like that. Grundy's still got it in the middle of the park. So I think that's the way that this needs to work.
BT, do you agree? Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to throw my 2 cents in. So I think I'm with you on that. I think Grundy's probably the better ruckman, but Gawn around the ball, like intercepting marker going forward. I completely agree. So I think Grundy's going to play more ruck forward of the ground and Gawn more back of the ground. I think so.
Yeah.
Your centre bounces, I would assume. I think Gawn's going to go there, and then wherever the ball goes. So if it goes forward, Grundy takes the ruck contest, and Gawn sits behind. Vice versa. When it goes back, if they lose the centre clearance, Gawn goes and he takes the ruck contest, and Grundy pushes up and he plays that the kick outs when they're kicking it outside the defensive 50. He's the target, if that makes sense. I think that's how it's going to kind of work. Grundy more. Yeah, go on, Josh.
Can I just add a scenario which I'm not sure has been considered? I'm interested to see if at any stage this year we see a centre square mix of Gawn in the ruck, Oliver, Petrarca, and Grundy also in the centre square, because I think that would be really interesting.
Oh, that'd be awesome to see. I guarantee it will happen. It will definitely happen at some point. Because like I said, then a Gawn can push straight back as that loose defender. Then you can have a Lever and a May playing on the 2 main forwards when you're going up against like a Geelong with Hawkins and Cameron. Then you have a Gawn playing as the loose intercept. And when he's on song playing that role, you're not scoring. You're not scoring against Melbourne. So this is an absolute beautiful move by Melbourne bringing in Grundy. And I think I can't see how it's not going to work.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think it's certainly the storyline of the off season. I think it's definitely a massive reason for optimism with this team. But Tazza, is there a cause for concern for this team? Obviously, the majority of us here on this podcast see them as having a terrific season, and they'll go top of the table. But if there's a reason why they fall, maybe to 7th, what would that be?
I mean, before they addressed the ruck sort of the ruck mix and which one of them goes forward, I think the hole in this team was the key forward line. You stay at home key forwards, like Grundy and Gawn are going to do their thing. They're going to be very flexible, I think. So it's hard to call one of them a stay at home forward. But looking past them, you've only really got Tom McDonald and Ben Brown sort of as your main key forward stock. So I think that might be the concern. They're going to need a little bit more out of them, a little bit more consistency. We've seen with Ben Brown, I think he kicked 30 goals last year, which wasn't shabby by any means. But and Tom McDonald, he only played half the season from memory. I think he played 9 games, kicked 15 goals. So I think they're just going to need a bit more out of them.
They need to find a guy, don't they? And I mean, they brought in Josh Shackey as a real nice under the radar signing. I mean, BT, do you see him playing a lot of football this year, or do you think if McDonald or Ben Brown, I can't call him Sideshow Bob anymore. Nice, it was a very nice move with the shaving the head for cancer. If one of those guys is out of the team, do you see Shackey, or do you see some young players might be stepping up?
I think they'll try Shackey because it's equivalent to a Sam Wiedemann who they lost to Essendon. So it's a like for like. Wiedemann had his moments. He didn't really do too much for Melbourne, but I think they'll definitely try it out, but I don't know how well it's going to work. And they might throw in some of these younger guys. They may go small. But the problem with Melbourne, they rely a lot of goals on these midfielders. So the talks in the offseason, Petrarca's going to play a lot more forward, even though he still plays forward. But Oliver, there's a lot of talk of him playing a lot forward this season. So I think they're going to have to find a lot of goals from these midfielders.
Yeah, so probably the only cause for concern is where they're going to find the goals from, but they've got a good Arsenal smalls. It's just, can the talls get it done? So, yeah, I don't mind that. Now Tazza, given your prediction of the team, we sort of allocate the bulk of the research to one person for each episode, and we have allocated it to you. And so I'm going to throw to you now for our three main segments that we like to run. The first of which is an All-Australian chance. And we're saying an All-Australian chance, someone that hasn't made an All-Australian before. So you can't be picking Gawn or Grundy. You can't be picking Petrarca or Oliver. We need a nice, obscure selection from you.
This is a team full of stars, and it's a team full of players that have made it in the past. So it's really hard to pick. And we do like to go for someone that's a little bit under the radar, or someone that might be, just seen as a sneaky little chance. And I think I've got one. There's a lot of talk about Cozzy Pickett spending a bit more time in the midfield this year. So I think he's definitely got the ability to emulate what Shai Bolton's done last year. He was selected on a half-forward flank. I think Cozzy Pickett, if he can sort of get into that midfield, they want him in there. You've seen him spend a few centre bounce attendances in the practice matches. They want the injection of speed into that midfield, it seems. So if he can bump up his possession numbers while still kicking a couple of goals every now and then, I can't see why he can't be there. He's got the silky skills. It just needs. I'm curious to see how he handles the in and under of the midfield and the contest, but I can't see why he couldn't push a spot on the half forward line.
So do you see him playing the bulk of his time forward or mid? And how many goals do you see him kicking this year to be a chance?
I think it's going to be a bit of a 50-50 split. More along the lines of Shai Bolton was, I don't think they really nailed him down to one or the other. It sort of just floats in there when he's needed. But I think if Cozzy, say if he's bumping it up to maybe like if he's spending a decent bit of amount of time in the middle, he can sort of get to that 17, 18 around there, and he's kicking maybe 30,
40
goals. Yeah, 30, 35, probably pushing 40. I think probably pushing 40. I think that's enough to probably squeeze him in there.
Yeah, I do like it as a good shout. There is, I think, 9 former All-Australians in this team. So it is looking pretty stacked. BT, I'm going to throw to you really quickly because Taz is very biased. Do you see Pickett at the club next season? A lot of chatter about a potential Port Adelaide shift at the end of 2023.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going through my mind. I was like, there's no doubt Taz is going to pick this guy. I think it was a terrible call. There's no way he's making All-Australian. He's not even close to the 40-man squad. He's kicking less than 25 goals. He's averaging 13, 14 disposals. He's nothing. You're far from it. Perfect player for a Port Adelaide team who does nothing.
You're giving me a team that's half stacked with All-Australian players.
I'm done here.
You're expecting me to win? Oh, nah, this is crap.
That was nearly as bad as your Melbourne finishing 7th, Cole. This is a terrible episode from you, Tazza.
Oh, this is a team that's half full of All-Australians. Like, we're not allowed to pick one that's been there before. I'm kind of limited with what I've got to choose from.
There's more chance of Trent Rivers making All-Australian than there is Cozzy Pickett.
Wow. BT goes bang once again. I love it. This is good areas from you. Now, this is stacks on Tazza today, so we're going to give you another chance. Okay, we're looking for a breakout
here we
player.
go.
Looking for a breakout player. We're looking for someone that is going to take their game to another level, Tazza. And once again, don't make it a shit call. Don't make it vanilla.
This isn't vanilla, I'll tell you that much. You guys I like to really deep dive into these things. And the last deep dive I did, you didn't even know who I was talking about. So it's definitely not going to be vanilla. So we spoke about the forward line possibly being in trouble for Melbourne. They're going to have to look at some younger guys. We looked at, obviously, Shaki maybe filling a void in terms of they need some more youth in there. Jacob Van Rooyen was selected in last year's draft. I think he kicked 36 goals in the VFL last year in the Casey Demons, their winning season. I think he's definitely ready for a post in that Melbourne forward line. They do need to get some youth in there. Got Tom McDonald, Ben Brown, and we'll call Max Gawn for the purpose of a forward line. We'll call him a forward. He will spend time down there, I think. They're all the wrong side of 30, not even 25, the wrong side of 30. So there is a need to get some youth in there ASAP. And I think Van Rooyen showed that I think it's 193 or 196, 193 and 96 kegs. So he's got the frame. He's definitely he's quite mobile for his size as well. So I think he's the kind of guy who could definitely slot into that team.
Very young bloke, BT. So turning 20 in April. Yeah, they've got a few options down there as young players. I mean, Jefferson they just drafted as well as a key forward, but yeah, I like the call because I think they do need to blood a young key forward in this team, and Van Rooyen could be the guy to do it. But what's the ceiling for this guy? What do you see as being a breakout for him this year? Is it playing half the games? Is it?
Has he played any AFL games yet?
No, he hasn't.
No.
So can I just interject? How can a breakout player not even play an AFL game yet? That's it kind of doesn't work with our segment, does it? Any AFL game.
We've talked about the breakout player. A breakout could be breaking into the side and could be cementing their spot in the side. It doesn't mean they have to be the gun player of the team. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that this is the year that he shows himself to be an AFL quality player.
I don't mind it.
I thought that was.
I don't mind it, but you need to tell us.
BT's just bashing me.
He is absolutely. He's got the shit on with you. But you need to give us like what are we looking for from him? Are we looking for 10 games and 15 goals? Like what's the breakout sort of level for him?
Yeah, I think that's about it. I think he's got to play at least half of the season. I don't think he'll start. There are rumours that he may be close to starting, but as soon as one of Brown or McDonald don't fire, I think this guy's straight in. And then he needs to be kicking, he needs a couple of good sort of, couple of goals not every game, but he needs to be consistently kicking goals in that forward line to really stay in there. And if he's kicked 20 by season's end, I think that gives him another go in 24.
Yeah, I don't mind the call. Don't worry about BT. Look, I'm happy with you here. I think that's a decent breakout. But I need you to live for this last segment. We're talking under the pump, and we're not talking about yourself. We're talking about a player on the Melbourne list that really just needs a lift, that needs a big year for one reason or another.
All right, this whole Melbourne podcast is very forward centric, and I'm going back to the forwards again. This really follows very closely onto what I just talked about. To me, it's Ben Brown. He did play a fair chunk of games last season. I think he played about 20 games. But I'm not sure that he's their preferred option forward. I think Tom McDonald, they really want him at half forward, and then probably Ben Brown. If it's between Van Rooyen and Ben Brown for that full forward spot for me. So yeah, Ben Brown's really going to have to come out and perform straight away if he is in that round one team, because I just don't think he's the first one to drop if they feel like they've got to reinvigorate this forward line for me.
Well, I think Ben Brown, certainly when Wiedemann was in the team, they were sort of mixing up the combination between Brown, McDonald, and Wiedemann. Now, Wiedemann's obviously gone, so they've certainly locked in on these two. But I mean, BT, I think this team we agree is contending, and unless Van Rooyen is hitting the ground running, you'd have to think they're gonna roll with the experienced hand. So yeah, it is an interesting year for Ben Brown.
It is the only call Taz has got right this whole episode. It's Ben Brown. He has to kick 40 plus goals. He needs to, otherwise he's he may not even find himself in the team at all next year.
40's a lot. 40 is a
Oh,
lot.
mate, he's won the Coleman before. High expectations from this fella.
He
And
hasn't
he
won
doesn't
the
have
Coleman,
that head.
has he won the Coleman?
Yeah. He won the
Yeah.
Coleman at North, mate. Come on.
Jesus. I don't think he won the Coleman.
Josh, you may find yourself in the twos with that. How don't
Definitely
you know
won
that?
the Coleman.
Yeah, mate.
I'm looking this up right now. I don't think he won the Coleman, fellas.
Didn't he kick 10 in the last round or whatever?
I'm looking this up.
Yeah.
Keep going, though. Keep going.
He did. But
That's
I reckon
he's never won the Coleman, BT. He's never won the
maybe
Coleman. That is an absolute
maybe I'm in the
stinker
twos
of a
next
call
week.
from you. Get in the twos. Get out of here.
It was the year that Jeremy Cameron kicked like 9 or 10 in the last round.
I had it the other way around. Yeah, that's right. But
Like he was leading and then
He finished top 3 in the Coleman 2017, 2018, 2019, but he never won it. Come on, boys. You need a lift.
There we go. He'll kick. He needs to kick close to 40. He needs to. He needs to cement his spot up that full forward. The only problem is he's not versatile enough. He needs that lanes. He needs the unleading lanes, and it's easy to block those off, especially with how defense is these days. He's going to struggle this year, and he's going to lose his spot.
It's a big call. It's a very big call. I reckon if he had a Coleman, there'd be no chance he'd be out of this team. So this is a man, I agree, could be under the pump. I like the call, Tazza. You've certainly lifted in the back half of this episode. And BT, give me a spell, mate. We're turning our attention to you in our final AFL season preview video. Don't be worried about that. And we're going to need a big performance out of you. Melbourne fans, look, we've pulled the piss out of Tazza a bit here, but I think we need your help. Get in the comments below. Let us know how incorrect you think this man is for predicting the Demons to finish 7th in 2023. As we said, though, on average, StatChat Sports, we've got them finishing 2nd. We think it's going to be a great year for the Demons. Looking forward to hearing your comments below. One team to go. One team to go in our AFL season previews, boys. We're on the home straight. We've nearly got there. 2 days' time. Tune in. It's going to be our preview of our number 1 ranked AFL team. And then it's the season. And then we've got there. Pre-season, done and dusted. 2023 season. We can't wait. Either way, make sure you subscribe to stay up to date with all of our latest videos. And we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.